Hello, welcome to this episode of Let's Chat Live. I'm one of the hosts, Chris Revel, with my boy Robert, other side.
Hey there, how's it going?
Going good. We're really excited today. Let's Chat Live is a really fun podcast where we get to talk to the podcasters and creators of the art that we love and you should be listening to. As of last week, all of our episodes that we do now on Let's Chat Live will be being released on the Let's Chat with Chris Revel feed on Friday, so you can look for this episode on Friday. A huge shout out to Vern from Cinema Recall for helping us out with some of the post-production. You can also hire him as an editor. And about 2 weeks after that, our episodes will be going into our Patreon, which you could, if you want to support our show, just patreon.com/letschatmedia. And no one wants to hear me talk anymore, so why don't we bring what we're all here for? Alex!
Pew, pew, pew. What's up, guys? We were just talking like 2 minutes ago about how the screen is kind of flipped for us, so of course it's appropriate that we get the point wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah, I think it's right here. Nope.
Somewhere.
Excellent. So I kind of want to start at the beginning with this one, Alex, because
I
had to refresh my memory. We met on Discord, is that right?
I think so. I was workshopping my podcast like months and months and months ago. Like I think it was October of 2020 or something like that. And I forget. I think you must have reacted or something to one of my messages, and then we just started talking.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool. I get to like every. Shout out to Kobe's. Hey.
Hey Matt, glad you're here.
Yeah, seriously, the community podcast people. We just talked to Jen last week or a couple weeks ago. We love her, and
of course.
But it was so cool because like I know you told me like what you're gonna do, and then like here's some ideas and like what can you do, and then like some time would pass, and then you'd be like okay here's what I did, and then you come back, and then you just came to me with this like you're like oh yeah I got my first episode and I listened to it. I was like this sounds like an NPR show.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
But it's community.
I tried. Yeah. Emphasis on the try.
No, I think you definitely did that.
You did.
Yeah.
You succeeded.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I think it also works on a meta level because there's almost an element to your podcast of like the pillow blanket 4 episodes when they do like that Ken Burns documentary style. Like
I hadn't thought about it that way.
Like you take the very silly and make it very serious. So you did like an NPR documentary style about like a TV show. I mean, one that's very near and dear to my heart, and Robert's as well. But it could go that way. So where did this idea come from? Like, where you're like, not only do I want to do a podcast, I want to do the hardest one you could possibly do.
I wouldn't put it. Oh, actually, I mean, I'll go into it a little later. This one actually almost Community is like the one show that sort of writes itself, but. So like I first watched Community back in November 2019. I'm pretty young, you should probably tell, so I was a late adopter, but I started when I was watching the show. I picked up this habit a while ago where I would read the beat reviews. After every the beat reviews, kind of like how like the reviews after every episode.
Oh yeah.
So, like
the second screen experience.
Yeah, like TV critic people will know Seppenwall, but like for Community it was like Emily Vanderwerf. Fantastic.
I love Emily
Those
Vanderwerf
were really
as well.
really good. Like if anyone's like looking to rewatch an episode and then read the review, and especially for like the first couple of seasons. I mean even for the later ones too, but like when the show was firing, the reviews were just like really really good. And I noticed that the reason I liked reading the reviews so much was that like half of the community experience, okay, I have to put the air quotes in frame. Half of the community experience is like undergoing all the behind the scenes stuff with the show. Like the show is great enough in itself, but the reason that the show became so well known and so near and dear to so many people was that they all sort of went through the experience together. And so with the reviews, what I was able to do was there was this giant comment section, like thousands of comments on every, or maybe not thousands, like hundreds of comments on every review, which is like crazy for like a 24 episode season.
No, you know what? You just remind me. I know, Robert, do you remember this too? But because I watched it when it aired. I remember, they were always on the brink of cancellation, but they like broke the AV Club's comment section one time.
Yeah, I think it was like I included it in one of the episodes. It was like 200,000 comments or something.
Yes, I forgot all about that. You're really jogging my memory. This is so awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And so and the nice part though was that it was like the one place where you could sort of feel the pulse of the show without getting spoilers. Like there was no risk of spoilers because who's gonna come back like 3 years later after the show's already done and write in some random comment section?
Just you, just Alex.
Yeah. I didn't write in it, so I saved that. I've actually run into a couple of shows after the fact where like people will go back and I'd have to like kind of be careful when I was looking at the comments. But like you can sort of get a pulse for the show without having to get it spoiled. And so then when quarantine hit and then the Community went on Netflix and then everyone's finding out about this show, like it's crazy how many people are getting into the show at that time, like April to June. It was like ridiculous. And so I was like, okay, so I wanted people to sort of have that experience that I had where you get to watch the show and find out at the same time what's going on outside the show. Because if you just watch the show, I mean, it's great in itself, but you don't get that full experience. So I thought people might want that experience. And also around that time, I was listening to an oral history of The Office, which is a podcast by
I love that with Brian Baumgartner.
Yeah,
it's great.
And so I sort of modeled it around that.
Have you listened to that one, Robert?
I haven't.
Yeah, and then after that, he did the deep. He's now doing an Office deep dive.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that. I sort of burnt out on Office podcast content between
that and Office Ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to all of them, but yeah. Oh, that's funny you say that. I definitely can see the that's interesting. So, and Robert's wife, who's my producing partner and partner, Bree. She's just watching Community for the first time. Robert, you should have her listen to the podcast because we were talking about this with Jen. And you're like, the show is so great, but like the drama of Dan Harmon and Chevy Chase fighting, and that was spectacle on its own.
Right, and the reason I say it's sort of also the podcast is made so that you can, if you listen to the trailer, it kind of tells you how you can listen to it if you're watching it. Like you listen, you basically just watch a season and then listen to an episode and then watch a season, listen to an episode. So that's kind of how it's built. And the reason I say Community sort of wrote itself was because, for one, there were 6 seasons, which if you have one before and after the show, that's 7 episodes, which is like a great length for a series. And also, like everything happened, or rather, everything kind of happened during the break, and everything was so like it was really easy to sort of structure the episodes where it was every episode is like the end of one season, the off season, and then like the start of the next season. And it was really easy to like bunch it up that way. And a lot of shows where either the drama wasn't as consistent or like I guess it was more spread out, it's not as easy to sort of structure it. But Community, once I sort of outlined what I wanted, it was really easy to sort of lay that out.
Were you connected to the community podcast first, or did you make it and then find them?
No, I made it and then found them. So that was another person just who reacted on Discord, and then they told me about that they had a group chat, and then I got introduced to Communities, Matt from Communities, because of that, and then I just joined the group chat.
Matt, if you're still there, shout out. I love your show too.
Yeah, shout out, Matt.
I think at this point, Robert, we should make it a goal, and anyone who's doing one listening, you're welcome, invited. We should get every Community podcast to come through Let's Chat Live.
It'll take a while.
I got time.
If you do one a week, it'll take like 4 or 5 months.
Oh, God. Well, we're never leaving. Jen's been on now, you, and Alex was on Let's Chat with Chris Revel from 6 seasons in a podcast.
Yeah,
so.
I saw that episode, yeah.
Or maybe we just get all of you at once. That might be faster.
Yeah.
A big round table.
Matt, can consider this an invitation on. Hit us up afterwards. We got to get as many of you Community podcast folks on here because we're
all going to be about this big.
Yeah. I've been fortunate to be doing the podcast stuff for a long time now, for about like almost 8 years. And I have to say the Community podcast fan base is one of the kindest, warmest, most amazing human beings I've ever come on the internet I've ever come across.
I mean, the tone is kind of set by the veterans of the podcast group, like there's I think I'm maybe like the first of the sort of new generation, or not new generation, like the whole thing takes place over like 2 or 3 years, but like the sort of new group of podcasters, because there was I don't have the timeline exactly right, but like the first, and maybe Matt, you can chime in on this, but like it was like Matt was first with like the account back in like 2010 or 11 or something, and the podcaster started with like Jen from Community Rewatch and Alex from 6 Seasons, and I don't really know the timeline from there, but like I know the ones I got there were like Apartment 303 and Good Morning Greendale and Advanced Community Studies and Welcome to Greendale. I'm probably forgetting a couple, but there were like 6 or 7 that were there when I got there, and then there weren't any new ones for a while, and then mine came along with like 1 or 2 others, and now we're getting like a new one a month for the last like 4 or 5 months, I think.
Okay, good comment. I'm for it, but once you pass Brady Bunch levels, it's rough.
For a little while, there was a podcast about the community podcasts. I'm not sure what's happened with that since in the last couple months, but
and then Joel and Ken Jeong had one too.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I listened to that.
Yeah, they never actually talked about community. It's kind of like the Scrubs podcast, where like sometimes they'll talk about.
I'm planning on watching Scrubs next. Actually,
you never seen it?
Huh?
Have you never seen it?
No, I've never seen it. It's on my like to-do list pretty soon.
I mean,
it's very good from what I've heard.
It is one of my favorite shows. Yeah. I'm not sure it holds up as well as some other things.
That's okay.
I thought it did. I watched it recently. I guess it depends on your level of sensitivity to that kind of stuff. I just love Scrubs too much. I mean, there's a blackface episode. That's
not anymore. They pulled them.
I probably can't watch it.
They pulled all 3 of those episodes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, like Always Sunny had like 5 pulled. Not 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
shout out Seaball. Oh, he's got a great comment about Scrubs, and this is for you, Alex.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, he's right. I actually have never seen it.
I've just heard it's bad. But then again, people thought How I Met Your Mother's 9th season was really bad, and I actually kind of liked it. So.
It mostly just the last episode was bad.
I actually thought that ruined the whole series for me.
It
did not ruin the series at all for me. It doesn't ruin the series at all for me. I don't know.
You're such a better person than me.
I don't know if it ruined the series so much as it completely ruined the last season, because it like the whole story and
I get that of course, but at the same time it's like, the you could kind of, so my How I Met Your Mother experience was a little weird, because a couple of years ago, before I'd even thought I was ever going to watch it, I read the finale ending because I was curious. Like, basically the big twist I knew when I was watching the whole series. So maybe that kind of clouded my vision a little bit as far as how invested I got in certain things, but I didn't think it was that bad.
That's fair.
That's interesting you say that, because I had that experience with The Sopranos. Like, I didn't watch it while it aired. So, like, I know some people who were still hurt by that last episode, but when I watched it, I already knew what I was coming in for, and I absolutely
kind of helps.
Adore it. And I have Alan Sevenwall and Matt Zoller White's book about it, because I love those guys so much.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't normally get too down from TV, although I'm not really like a huge TV guy. Like I just watch sports basically. Like my multimedia consumption is like sports for the most part, and then
Community.
Yeah, well, and then sitcoms for like the last year and a half, because I got Hulu for free a while back. So yeah, but I'm mostly just watch sports, so I don't really know it. I'm not, like, compared to a lot of people that come on here, probably I'm not going to be as knowledgeable in like TV and movies and stuff.
That's fair.
Well, what sports?
It's okay. So ever since I was like 5, I've watched basketball, baseball, and football, like religiously. And although over the last like couple of years, especially once we got locked down, I've realized that I can pretty much watch anything, like hockey, soccer, tennis, golf, even like NASCAR and Formula One and stuff like that. Like, I just get interested by everything. So,
all right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm with you there. Although I can't really do NASCAR with us because I grew up in the South and I just can't.
Too much of a stereotype.
Yeah, and I've tried to watch cricket, but I honestly have no idea what's going on.
Cricket is actually pretty cool once you like understand the rules. Like I don't like follow it per se, like because I don't really know what I would follow, and like 99% of the games are when it's like 3 a.m. here.
Right.
So I couldn't really follow it, but the game is really interesting to me. Like as someone who likes baseball and like understands why I love baseball so much, just because it's like chill, basically. Right. But you can get excited when you want to. Cricket's like a lot like that.
It is.
But yeah,
I watch bowling, or I used to watch bowling, so I guess I can't judge.
I watch a lot of soccer.
Football or soccer?
Either one.
I know. I mean, like soccer.
Yes. And football.
Wow.
Yes.
Who you got in the Euros?
Yes, my TV has been on ESPN all week.
Yeah.
You know, Bree's left all this out all the years I've known her. This is fascinating.
Oh wow, you didn't know.
This is the most sports talk we've ever had on here, so I'm impressed.
Yeah, that Nations League game, man, that was incredible.
Yeah, it was a little messy, and I still can't believe that the game ended with 22 players on the field. But yeah, no, it was a good one.
That's all I can think of is John Oliver when he when he shows up to Jeff's house and throws the party.
Yeah.
And Leonard, where are the white women at? No, Leonard, there are no white women. And is that where we meet Magnitude for the first time?
Yeah.
Pop.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. I tweeted this the other day. Like, it's weird that Magnitude is like an essential character, and he didn't appear until episode 40 out of like 110,
and doesn't really talk outside. Doesn't really say much except pop.
Yeah,
and
it's like,
oh my goodness. So what? Why make a docu? So making podcasts is hard and time consuming and fun, like any creative endeavor. But why the docu-series style?
I think it was just because for one, I was inspired by oral history of The Office. So I basically I just basically said I want to do that for Community.
I love that.
And also, I mean, it's not really made for a unscripted podcast type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of just, you tell the story, you get in, you get out for the most part.
I get jealous of this idea of starting a show that ends. Like, I started in 2013. I'm like, our audio podcast, I think we're like episode 234. And like, that's a lot. And I'm like, I saw yours, like, wait, you could just be done one day? Like, it just ends?
That's allowed.
What? I'm still here. Have you been able to get the attention of like Brian Bongoner to like let him know about your inspiration?
No, I haven't. I've been pretty busy, so I haven't had like a ton of time to like actively promote it, which is probably an issue. But no, it's actually not a bad idea. Maybe I'll let him know.
I'll hit him up on IG.
You got him?
Like, what's up, Bri?
You guys on a first name basis?
Yeah, I would love to. Are you kidding? Oh. A couple of my friends got to moderate the panel at Rhode Island Comic Con a few years ago when it was with Brian Bongoner and the actor played Stanley, Leslie David Baker, and I'm still jealous.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, you got to meet someone in the office? Like, oh my god, that's insane. So, I don't know about you, Robert. I've done at least 2 Community. I had rewatched Community because my friend at work was rewatching it. And then we did the interview with Jen, and I had just finished rewatching it when we talked with Jen from Community Rewatch. And if anyone knows her, she is just the most lively, engaging person, and so like full of energy. It made me go back and rewatch it again, but not a true rewatch because like when I watch like a rewatch, like sometimes you skip around, but now we're doing like I'm just kind of going through and picking all the favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first rewatch, you have to watch every episode no matter what, and then the other one you can like go 1, 4, 7, whatever.
Yeah, skip around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even touch season 6 on the. Actually, that's a question for both of you. Where do you stand on season 6?
I like season 6. First time I watched it, I liked it more than 5.
Yeah, I think I can see that. I don't not like it.
I just haven't seen it. Should I?
I think you should. I mean, I think you should watch everything. For me, it's like I've never really run into a show where I like was so angered by the quality that like I had to stop watching. Like I'm making my way through Modern Family right now.
Oh, that's a fun one.
It's like, okay, sure, the quality goes a little bit down after a while. And I'm on season 10 now, but it's like I still like hanging out with them. They still make me laugh pretty consistently. Like I'm not gonna stop watching them.
They did 10 seasons?
They did 11.
They did 11.
Full length too.
Didn't Megan Gans went to...
Yeah, she was on she was on Modern Family for a little while.
She wrote one of the best episodes.
I don't actually remember which one she wrote.
I remember when I used to really dig Modern Family. There was the episode where they were all connected through like iPhones.
Oh, that was her?
I could, you know what, let's just for the sake of argument and hopefully no one can fact check me. It was.
Yeah, that was surprising. That one was surprisingly good.
That was like it had a community feel to it.
I mean, the good ones do. I actually, I'm going off on like 5 different tangents here, but I'm doing a sort of mini, not like a series, but I'm just like tweeting out some of the sources that I used, and one of them that I...
Vindication.
One of them
there you go.
The first one I tweeted out was an interview from 2011 with Dan Harmon and Steve Levitan, who one of the people who made Modern Family, and it was really interesting because they're like, they're like sort of on competing shows, but at the same time they're like, we should make our shows more like each other, and I don't know, it's an interesting read. Go to my Twitter.
And Levitan, did he make Cheers? Or Frasier?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know like the people who made Modern Family had made something else that was already like they were rich beyond their wildest dreams.
Oh.
I want to say Frasier.
It was, I remember they made something before. Lloyd and Levitan.
Yeah, they're like the guys.
Their name on every opening credits sequence.
Yeah. Hey, maybe I'll watch Modern Family again.
Anyway, we were talking about season 6. The reason that I liked season 6 at first more than season 5, now I kind of see them as tied. But like what I liked about season 6 was like I'm not really a like huge flat out ambition guy when it comes to like TV. Sometimes I kind of just like to see some of the more grounded stuff. Like season 1 I was a really big fan of. I still don't think it's as good as 2, but like season 1 I would probably put higher than most people. And like season 6 I liked that it was sort of because season 5 had a lot of concept episodes, if I remember correctly. And so I like that season 6 was kind of like a return not normal, but it was, because nothing's normal in Community, but it was sort of a little darker and a little more like we actually have to think about what these characters are doing now, which I kind of liked. Also, the finale was really good.
Maybe I'll skip to that.
Yeah, the finale's great.
I remember watching it. Maybe I did watch. I don't remember it. Like, I always get to 4 and then I kind of jump around 4. Well, you know what? That's not fair. I always say that, but I jumped around through 1 and 2 and 3. There's some skippers in 1 that I just don't love. They're not bad. I just don't like them.
Yeah. They're forgettable.
The one with the kids with the I always skip that one. I don't know. I don't like that one.
I mean, it's not horrible.
Yeah, it's not.
It just depends on how objectionable you find the kids. I don't find them particularly objectionable. So.
Yeah, and it's when you're doing a rewatch, you're like, well, I already know I don't like this, and the one after I like probably even more. So that's usually where that happens.
Yeah, I think I'm only a not too much older than them, so I kind of not know where they're coming from is obviously not the right word.
Yeah,
I've seen that behavior before.
Yeah, of course.
So I relate to it a little more. But yeah,
that's too funny. So, do you guys have any favorite episodes? I know that's so hard to answer.
208 is mine. Cooperative calligraphy, because every Community fan has, or most Community fans probably have their favorite episode maybe on the top of their head. If you on Community Twitter a lot, that comes up. The bottle episode.
Oh yeah. I was drawing a blank. And Community is one of the few shows where everyone knows the title of the episodes.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's production codes and episodes, right? Or not production codes, but like season X episode.
Yeah.
Like I could say 208, 613. Oh wait, no, sorry, you go.
What's 613?
Finale.
Okay. What about you, Robert? What are some of your highlights?
The debate episode.
He was horny, so he dropped me.
So evil.
Is that Community's first great episode?
You know what? It's funny you say it. My friend at work, Adam, who was watching for the first time, that was the episode where he became hooked. And it was like, dude, it's going to get so much weirder.
Yeah. I mean, the first time they really get weird is Halloween, I think. I mean, we have our Matt's encyclopedia on this, but yeah, Halloween, and then
that's a good one.
Also too, Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas.
Oh
yeah, that one's.
Holiday ones I almost want to always put in a separate category because they just mean so much to me.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, I don't think you can grade them differently because they get the being a holiday episode.
Because I watch those I've watched every holiday episode of Community since the DVDs were out every year. Even the years I wouldn't watch Community, I would always watch those specials. Like every Christmas, I have to watch that.
Yeah, they're tearjerkers. Yeah, first really weird was Poultry.
So Matt will say, first weird is Poultry. You know what? You're right. And I always kind of think that's where the show becomes the show, or Paintball is the one that everyone refers to. But I always think the Poultry.
I think the first time they really commit to it, and actually, I'm curious to hear from you guys too. The first time you watched 204, which is basic rocket science, the spaceship KFC one. So when I remember my Community viewing experience, I remember that episode, and then I think it was Abed God, then Zombies, then Secret Garden, I want to say. Like that stretch where it was just weird episode. Honestly, I was kind of exhausted. I was kind of like, are we just going to have like these weird episodes for the rest of the series? And then they hit you with a bottle episode. But I was like, I was actually like, I wasn't as fond of season 2 the first time I watched it. And then I went back later and I was like, oh yeah, this is brilliant.
Yeah, the Messiah one's not my favorite, but the Joshua one is the Secret Garden. Poultry is actually one of my favorite episodes. Like, I'm a sucker for Abed Jeff stuff. So like that and My Dinner with Abed, which.
Yeah, those are both good.
I think it's my favorite. I have such a hard time because, like, objectively, I would say Remedial Chaos Theory is arguably the greatest episode. My personal favorite would be Poultry or My Dinner. Oh yeah, that's like the episode that I think everyone kind of would agree is like their best one.
Can you explain to me why everyone thinks Remedial Chaos Theory is like the best thing to happen since sliced bread? I've watched it like 4 or 5 times. I like it. Like I like it a lot, but I don't get why it's like the best thing ever.
I don't have a proper answer. I don't, at least just for like watching it for the first time it aired. Maybe it's that thing of just at that time I literally have never seen anything like that, and just having that feeling. And the thing about Community, there's a bunch of episodes watching that on Thursday night must see TV, like where Paintball was the first time I saw Paintball. There's a few episodes, bottle episode, but that was one of those ones like my head just explodes. It's got a lot of quotability, but maybe is my whole argument flawed? Is it the worst episode?
No, I think it's still really good. It's just like I don't see why everyone thinks it's like better than like, everything.
Oh boy. Alex, DM me later. I need a full keyboard in a half hour.
Okay.
Oh, all man. Right. Is there a way we can invite him on right now to come defend his throne? I want to hear it. Yo, send us a DM, please. We really want to have you on this. Just hit us up on the Twitter or something, and we're gonna come back, and he's gonna defend himself. We're gonna start the first thread in Let's Chat Live history, and I'm so happy about this. And you're all invited. We're holding it down. We should get like a real debate episode. Like our friends have a podcast called Defining Disney, where they created a rubric to objectively identify the best Disney movie. I think we need to get that kind of nerdery with the Community people.
Well, our Apartment 303, I think, did a bracket not too long ago. I don't remember who won.
Of course it exists. I love this community so much.
Yeah, you can go back to their tweet archives or just like listen, but yeah.
Well,
they did that a while ago.
You know what? The one that Jen made me think of, the Professor episode.
That's
forgot
underrated.
how much
That is woefully underrated.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Anytime that cop, I don't know that actor's name, but the actor who plays the cop, who reoccurs, he's just like he steals every
that
scene.
That was really good. I think that one's good because you really don't know what's gonna happen. Like a lot of the times you can kind of see the beats coming.
And the dean's like crying.
Yeah.
So the celebrity impersonator episode always better than I think it is.
I haven't watched that one in a while.
I just watched season 3 recently, and then we also recently watched the one with Annie's Move, another super underrated one.
Yeah, that was pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the only argument you could make against her video chaos theory is it doesn't really advance the story too much, but I still love it.
I don't really have anything against it. It's just like I don't see it as like number one. You know,
it's the bare naked ladies of Community. Whoa,
RC. I mean, you see it referred to all the time as RCT.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was that?
You see it referred to all the time on community Twitter as RCT.
Wow, I never knew that.
Or maybe not Twitter. I don't know, Discord, something. I don't know. I just remember seeing that acronym a lot.
I even love the Dungeons and Dragons episode. I know that's since been changed, but I remember liking it at the time.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that's a good episode too. Yeah. Although it's weird. Like I never really played. I've never played. I don't think Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, like actually, you know what's interesting? One of my interesting like experiences. I guess I don't know if this is really a take, but like I the first show I ever watched was The Big Bang Theory because my parents were watching it once when I was like 10 or 11, and I just started watching it. And obviously, that The Big Bang Theory is like the worst thing ever to Community people. But
I've never seen it.
The only reason, and like the one criticism lobbed against The Big Bang Theory a lot is that it like is like offensive to geek culture. And I totally get that. Like I'm not really in geek quote unquote. Sorry, I don't know if that's like the right term, but like that sort of like
easy there, sports watcher.
But like the only reason I'd ever heard of Dungeons and Dragons was because of The Big Bang Theory. Like that was the first time I'd ever heard of it, which I think represents like a lot of like maybe some of the older people that were watching it. But I don't know, that's just my experience.
I can totally see like some gatekeeperness from people because I never played it, and I guess I can see where you're coming from. Oh man, that is coming. We got Matt from Commies is coming back, hitting us hard in the comments in this one. I don't know what to do with you three. BNL.
Hey, I was not a part of that.
You were the nakedest lady of all.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait.
I have some.
Oh, your wife's getting on this. Breeze
yes,
old.
I played Dungeons and Dragons back in the 90s.
Nice. But I guess what you were saying, Alex, though, I think of that argument a lot with like music, where like I get a lot of crap because I grew up in like the punk scene and stuff, and I have like my DIY ethos, but I also unabashedly just love pop music. So like I really love the new Machine Gun Kelly album, and Seaball, if you're listening, you're making fun of me. But like to me, I'm like, if like a kid finds a Machine Gun Kelly album and that leads him on to like Alkaline Trio or goes to like Bane or Saves the Day, but like if that can be the thing that can bring you deeper down to our world, that's awesome. Like like I can't act like I'm cool or holier than thou. Like I fell in love with punk rock because I fell in love with nu metal when it was popular, and Green Day was popular when I was a kid. So I think that's the same with like the Big Bang Theory, like kind of continuing the popularity of D&D. So I totally relate to you on that.
I mean, it's complicated. It's like, I mean, I'm sure if I went back, I haven't watched it in a little while, but I'm sure if I went back and watched it, there were elements that probably could have been done a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not black and white is the point, I think.
I saw the commercials and hated the commercials so much I decided to never watch it. So that says more about me.
You can't really judge comedy trailers on anything. Like if you watch, if you just watched like TV show trailers, you'd think no TV show was ever good.
That's fair.
Like I see like the network TV ads for like the new shows, and they all look horrible. But like that's because you don't know the characters, or you don't know like they have to tell like 2 jokes in a trailer. And you're obviously going to pick the ones that are the broadest and like physical comediest and stuff, especially on network television, right? So it's like,
yeah,
you can't really judge any show by its trailer, but then again, you have to judge it by something, right? So,
One thing I want to ask both of you, I don't know, Alex, if you're a Marvel fan, but like, do you guys go deep into like the community, like who like goes on? I'm a sucker for that, especially in music. Like, a band breaks up and they all go off and start new bands who are like kind of like that lineage. But I was just talking to my wife about it. How I was listening to the podcast. The new Marvel show Loki is from, I think, the Community. I think he was a writer or intern. He worked with Dan Harmon in Community, and then later Rick and Morty, and now is doing Loki. And I was just going through the math in my head. I was like, I mean, you got the Russo brothers,
Justin Lin,
like so many.
Megan
Gone. I don't. Megan. Everyone has gone on to do. Every actor and like writer has gone on to do something pretty cool. Except Chevy Chase.
Michael Waldron.
Yes, and he's doing Loki. And the first episode I really liked.
And he's also one of the writers for the new Doctor Strange.
So. Yes, I think the rumor. And Alex, are you a Marvel fan?
Not really, but I follow it generally.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Like, so my understanding is that the rumor is that it's gonna these Loki can connect right into will connect WandaVision and to the Doctor Strange movies. And Robert, have you been cheating on your wife? And out of context, let's read that comment. We haven't seen that yet. I'm referring to Loki, unless Robert is watching behind my back. Well, are you? You got to answer it live. Are you watching behind your wife's back? Oh, God. Oh, I got another comment. You're saving the day, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Oh, boy. Oh, God. Oh, boy. I'm going to ignore that one from Bree.
Yeah.
Dude, the Loki writer's writing a Star Wars movie? That's not fair.
The hell?
Oh, boy.
Did you watch that?
Back out.
What? Yeah. So Robert has not watched Loki yet. But, like, the Russo brothers, all that stuff.
Yeah, that was one of the things. Was like when I was researching, I was like, "Wow, like I had, like the Russo brothers. I mean, the Russo brothers are really interesting journey. Like you started with like Arrested Development. I'm sure they had other stuff before, but Arrested Development.
Arrested Development. Yeah, fanatic.
I love Arrested Development too. Although I haven't seen it in a little while, but
I don't like I didn't love 4 and 5, but maybe I'll try it again.
Yeah. So what I thought about 4 and 5, 4 is really we're just going on tangents all over the place. But
yeah, that's 4, pretty standard.
The original cut of 4 is really good, I thought, because it starts out slow and then it like connects everything in the end, and by the end it's just like 20 plot lines coalescing a minute, and it's really built for Netflix. And then 5, the problem with 5 is that they tried to do like the storytelling of 4 but in an episodic format, which didn't really work as well, and also actor schedules were horrible at that time.
Yeah. Robert, did you watch Arrested Development?
Not a lot, no.
No, yeah. Russo brothers come from there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Russo brothers went like Arrested Development, Community, and like all this other stuff.
He's watching.
Oh, it sounds like Robert might not be married by the end of this one. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
And I think, aren't the Russo brothers doing a Dungeons and Dragons show now?
No idea.
I think that's what they're gonna make next. I'm glad Matt is laughing. Good theater. Yeah. This is fun. Oh boy, Bree says he is sleeping on the couch. Oh, that's my buddy Audra. Hi, Audra.
Hello.
It's way past your bedtime.
Yeah. Can we get her some communities like shirts, like some onesies? No, not onesies. Like we should go on like TeePublic and buy her some community podcast merch shirts. It would be adorable.
Yeah.
Not sure how many of the podcasts have merch.
I know 6 Seasons at one point he had made that really cool 8-bit thing that I meant to buy.
Yeah, he has a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, if it's still out there, I love TeePublic. Or any of that stuff. I just go in and type in any sort of like crossover fan art. I'm all in. Which community kind of lends itself to.
Right. They got a lot of props that people want.
Especially they do like those 8-bit Nintendo episodes and the guild. Like, yeah, we just watched that the other night. I also love, they have, besides, the connections to like Marvel, but like they had like the guest stars too. Like They had Gus. I'm sorry, Giancarlo Esposito and
Esposito.
I forgot the other guy's name, Mike. But Breaking Bad had just ended, or Breaking Bad was still in its moment, and Michael Keller Williams was still the guy from The Wire, and they're all guest stars. I love that they always bring in who they love in TV, and you see that into the Marvel movies and everything else they do.
I mean, they clearly had a lot of clout, right? I mean, even though they didn't.
Sure.
Well, in the ratings, they could clearly pull
Yeah.
I mean, they got Jonathan Banks for a whole year.
That's his name. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, Patrick Brewster and Keith David aren't small names either.
Oh, that's right. She's on later too. Oh my god.
Watch 6, baby.
Yeah. Well, we watched the first 3 twice, and then kind of fell off.
Yeah. Are you guys big rewatchers of things?
It depends, but sometimes there are certain shows where I feel like I can watch them over and over and over. The West Wing is one of those because I watched it when that show was live, and although since it left Netflix, I have not rewatched it, but I used to rewatch that show a lot.
Same. Did you watch the HBO thing they did?
The live of Hartsfield's Landing, that was awesome.
That's great.
I was just say it's a shame how everything is splitting off again.
I know. We had that. It's like cable all over again. You're like, no.
Yeah. There was the golden age of streaming where it was Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already seeing it. You have a bunch of shows get coalesced into one service, and they split off into more services, and then Disney Plus, or not Disney Plus, there's this bundle that's Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu for $12.99.
I have that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it converges and then diverges and then converges again.
Yeah.
And we're already seeing the converging again.
Yeah, because Paramount Plus is just Comedy Central, CBS, and
Nickelodeon.
And then I've been seeing ads for Discovery Plus is 8 different channels.
My brother-in-law wants to get it, and I was like, well, if you watch it, I get it. Discovery, they're different people. I get it.
I mean, you get it just for Triple D.
Diner Drive-In Dives.
Alex, do you rewatch shows?
Not really. I'm not really a huge I mean, I guess given the choice, I would prefer to try out something maybe watch something new and learn about a whole nother show verse or comedy show verse. But I don't know. I mean, I don't really go back and watch the whole series front to back.
I have a handful of. It's the thing you can watch when you go to sleep, that. I've read this thing online. I'm sure everyone saw that meme. I don't even know if it's true, but they say people with anxiety like to rewatch stuff because it's a calming thing, so you know it's going to come next. And I'm like, someone who's dealt with anxiety before, that makes sense because I rewatch a lot of stuff. To be fair, I actually tend to almost never watch new stuff, and kind of watch the same 10 things over and over.
I think you guys have probably gotten to the point where you have enough stuff in your Rolodex that you can.
That's true.
Rewatch, and you're watching stuff you haven't seen in 5 years.
Yeah, and we also have children, so we're home more. So let's blame it on the kids.
Yeah.
Well, and there, my kids are a little bit older now, but there was a time when they were a lot younger, and I would watch things muted with closed captioning on. So at that point, it's nice to rewatch something that you've already seen before that you're not losing anything.
That's funny. Yeah, man. Yeah, so I've actually just at a podcast level, really curious. How long would you say one episode? How many hours it took you to put into doing that?
I don't know.
Idea to finished product.
Well, what I would have to do is take my entire thing and divide by 7 because I didn't start working on one episode and then finish the episode and then go to number 2, right? I sort of did.
What was your process then? Yeah. Okay.
The timeline is a little weird, but I think I really started researching. I want to say last August or something. It was a while back, late July, early August. And then I did the research, laid out the outlines, and then I had a couple of months where it was just writing. And then that took a while, of course, because each episode is like half an hour. And then recording / editing was like December to February, March-ish. But I don't know exactly, because I've got other stuff to do too, so like I didn't spend 100% of my time on it, but that's about the timeline, I think.
Damn.
But yeah, I'm not, because there was also a time where I was like kind of half-ass recording and making rough drafts, so that kind of intersects. But yeah.
So, like, a lot.
Yeah, a lot. The writing, I'll say, like, I'm not really a writer. Like, that's not like my major or anything. And in school, like in grade school, writing was not like or language arts was not my favorite class. Like, I had great teachers, but the subject matter wasn't like my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But every once in a while, I get this weird writing bug, and I don't know where it comes from. But I guess that's just sort of what spurned this.
Do you think you'll do a project like this again?
Honestly, I have no. I doubt it. This was like, I mean, it would probably be a little bit easier because I kind of know. Although, well, I'm gonna lose Adobe Audition soon, I think, which sucks because I forget. I think our school is like getting rid of our free Adobe Creative Cloud soon, which, by the way, is like a huge steal. Like, we get $350 value free. Like, I only use like 1/10 of it, but even so, it's a huge steal.
You get the whole cloud?
Whole cloud.
It's more than $350.
Oh yeah, it's like,
Really?
Yeah, Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, Audition.
I think it's $36 a month.
That's more than my streaming services combined.
Yeah, we get it free for 4 years. Well, it was going to be 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, you don't plan on pursuing audio engineering or anything? Like,
I don't think so.
You got a little resume under your belt.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's a shame I can't put this on my actual resume, really.
Welcome to podcast.
Yeah, it's just kind of a side thing. I don't know. I do like college has a radio station, so I volunteer with that every once in a while. But I don't know if it's something I'll pursue like full time. But this whole experience was like really fun.
I mean, it's like the show. I mean, it's really the community around doing a podcast is why people do it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like that's the sauce behind all of it, is because it's awesome, and you get to meet so many nice people. And if you play your cards right, sometimes you get to meet your heroes, and it's it's the best. I love it. I mean, that's how we all get to talk. Like, Bree is my business partner. Like, we have a checking account together, and we've never met in person, but we talk pretty much every single day. But we live in different states. But like they're like our family at this point. So it's so funny, especially through this pandemic. We were very busy. This was the thing that occupied a lot of our time, and I went from hobby, brought on decided to take it a little more serious, brought on Bree as a producer, and then things really kind of changed. But yeah, but it's just the power of Twitter, really. I don't know about you. Twitter has been my best with social media.
I held off Twitter for as long as possible.
What do you?
I'm more of a Reddit person, actually, because it's a little more nichey.
Community Reddit must be fun.
Yeah, it's really, really, really active. I'm not on it as much anymore. I mostly use it for sports nowadays. But like, when the Netflix boom was happening, the growth in that sub was absurd. I think I said a number in my podcast. I think it was like they grew a couple 100,000 in like 3 or 4 months, which is very, very large. But I will say one of the cool things about the whole podcasting experience was that I never really get to meet people that have different experiences than me that are peers. Like, because like most of the adults that I've met over the last couple of years have been like teachers or professors or whatever, or advisors or whatever. But like this has been a pretty cool experience that like I actually get to like meet people that have their own lives and have families and stuff that I talk to. Like,
yeah, it's true. It does. It's so cool the relationships that you build and friendships that come out of it. And yeah, God. We just went out to like dinner with a friend of ours, and we were talking. I was like, "Oh my!" And I'm like, "Nate, how do we meet?" And he was a guest, a friend of my old co-host, and and I'm like, "Oh my God, we've been friends for 7 years because of that." Like
Yeah.
it's kind of, I think that's what it is. It's just brings you in. That's so cool. I'm so glad that you like all that hard work put off. I really hope you take it though and can put it in front of someone from Community. I feel like there's a book in this or something.
I'm very timid. I'm not the type of person who like would be very happy to just dive into a bunch of DMs, but maybe I should.
We're so different. I live in the DMs. That came out wrong.
No, I've heard that phrase used before in that context.
Yeah. Ooh, thank God.
I don't think anything's lost in translation.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I will say the thing about Twitter is like everyone seems to be on edge when they're on Twitter.
Yeah, that's fair. It's like the place, if you're gonna get in trouble, it's gonna be on Twitter.
Yeah. So like I've tried like muting keywords to like sort of make it just the community Twitter. But
oh, Daniel, Vicky was interested a lot. Does anyone remember what that was referring to?
Oh yeah, that was Matt. I don't know if that video is coming out soon. Actually, I think you already said we can share a little bit. But like we talked with Vicky from Community, who's Danielle Kaplowitz.
Oh no way!
She thought it was cool, but
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love her. She's so fantastic. Funny.
Yeah, she's great.
The Law and Order episode that just popped in my head. That was like
I think they talk about that one a lot.
One that like my head like literally exploded. And I'm a huge fan of The Wire, especially like everyone. I love Omar, and that scene when he made a Raya reference like just killed me. Like I just can't even. It's a feeling I'll chase forever. This has been a ton of fun. Before we kind of start wrapping up, Robert, anything to add?
It was mostly just going back into the last episode, and you started to ask me the question about have I been rewatching Community since then, and I haven't, because I started watching Mythic Quest, which I know we talked about.
Don't spoil.
I won't spoil it, other than it is. So next to Ted Lasso, the best thing that I've seen on TV in like 3 or 4 years.
Megan Gons, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Jen was telling us about this.
Megan and Rob McElhenney, which is an
interesting pairing, and it's.
I think Megan's resume is really neat because it's like Community, Modern Family, which is like a really popular show, and then Always Sunny, which is like the opposite of that.
And she wrote for The Onion
show. Oh yeah, The Onion. Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone out there can put me in contact, I would love to interview her. I know I've tried, but I remember years ago she was on an episode of You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes, and I've just been a fan ever since. And she was on an episode of This American Life too, I think, at one point.
Yeah, she seems game for a lot of stuff. I think she was.
I think she was. I'm gonna have to do some research.
I think she's been on Jen's podcast multiple times.
Jen, I'm gonna hit you up. Oh, so we're still waiting on approval from Vicky.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot her real name.
Danielle.
Awesome, guys. So Alex, where could people find you online?
Yeah. So Twitter @StoryofCommPod was on the scrolling bar. Now it's not. That's the website. I also made a Bitly because I like Bitly. It's just bit.ly/thestoryofcommunity for easy reference. So I'm not paying for a website yet, unless this gets bigger. And
we know someone who makes them.
Instagram @thestoryofcommunity. I don't really post there much anymore though. I also did this thing that was pretty cool. I talked with other community podcasters, including, or let me see if I can name them all. I think it was Matt, who's not technically a podcaster, but basically honorary podcaster. Alex from 6 Seasons, Ed from Save Greendale, Kevin from Advanced Community Studies, and Adam from Apartment 303. And I just talked with them about like basically their firsthand experience living as a community fan from the time. So that's on my YouTube channel. It's called The Epilogue, and there's 7 of those videos. They're each about 10 minutes long.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, those are pretty cool if you're like, A, you don't feel like listening to a podcast, or B, it's just pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt, you can chime in if you thought it was cool. But yeah, that, and I guess on Twitter, I'm still doing, I have a hashtag sources of community where I'm sharing some of the sources I used. I think the last one I shared was the Modern Family one I told you about, and then the next one I have, I'm not sure, but it's like 2 or 3 days. In 2 or 3 days, it's just like
nice.
the anniversaries of sources and things. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Let's hope you fall in love with another cult show that we all love that have lots of podcasts around it, so we can get more from you.
Yeah.
Robert, where can folks find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at RepNJam. Also on Reddit and Discord.
Awesome. You can find us on Let's Chat podcast.net. You'll find everything from there. Or feel free to support us on Patreon at Let's Chat Media. And Alex and Matt too. Shout out. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
That was it means the world to us, and it was super fun. So everyone have a good night.
You too.